Hello, here's your geometry semester exam. Take your time, listen carefully to the questions as I read them and look at them, and I'm sure you'll do just fine, okay? So here we go, and question number one. Oh, also, the questions are not scrambled at all on the test. However, the multiple choice parts kind of are. So like I'm not going to read A, B, C, and D, or true and false, because it may be scrambled on your Edulastic. So I'll read the question, talk about pictures and all that stuff. These I'm not going to read. Okay? So you're going to use this picture, true and false. Point A lines on line M. So here's line M right here. Does point A on the line, true or false? Number 2. Point D lies on line N. Here would be line N. Is point D on it, true or false? Number 3. Points B, C, E, and Q are coplanar, meaning they're all on the same plane. Are B, C, E, and Q, are they all in the same plane, like all on the same tabletop or piece of paper? True or false? More true and false on the next page. Question 4. Okay, we're going to using B, C, and E. They're collinear. Key part of collinear is L-I-N-E, line, on the same line. Are these on this? These it's saying they're all coplanar. Is that true or false? Question 5. Another name for plane G, would it be plane QEC? So here's the big G, that'd be this plane here. Could they also call it QEC? They're saying they can. Is that true or false? Number 6, they want to find the length of HJ. That is this small part right there. Okay. Keep in mind the whole thing is 52. This part's 30. What would you do with these two numbers to figure out what's left for HQ? Okay, we want to find the length of XZ. XZ, so that would be the entire length. You got to find the whole thing. What are you going to do with these parts to find the total length? On to the next page. Okay, we want to find the distance between the 2 points. Okay, so we're going to use the distance formula. I'll give you that in a second. Remember, here's x1, y1, x2, and y2. Distance is equal to all under the square root. We're going to subtract the x's, square that answer, plus subtract the y's, and you square that too. And make sure you work it out kind of piece by piece when we plug these in, okay? Do the x's and subtract them. Do the y's and subtract them. Then square them both. Then add them together. Then finally take the square root. And I believe the directions say round to the nearest hundredth, so that would be the second decimal place. So for example, you could have something like 17.25. Okay, you go 2 places past the decimal. Okay, number 9, it says line T bisects CD at point M. So draw a picture here. That's what I would do. So here's CD, and there's a line coming through. That is T, and he's bisecting it, which means he's making this into 2 equal parts. It says CM. This is point M, where it bisects. But from C to M is 3x, and from M to D is 27. They want to figure out CD. Okay, so they want to figure out how long this whole thing is. So set these two equal to each other and solve for x. So you're just going to say 3x is equal to 27. Solve for x. And then plug x back in here and take 3 times that. Okay, and if these are equal, have an idea what this should be. But then add the 2 halves together. They want the whole length for CD. Number 10, we want to know the measurement, how many degrees is LHJ. So that would be this angle right here. How many degrees is that? Okay, well now in the directions they tell us that KHJ is a 90. So this is 90 degrees, which means these two pieces add together to equal 90. So if you're setting up your equation, I'm going to say 8x minus 1 plus 4x plus 7 equals 90. Make sure you combine like terms, okay? And then start getting x by itself. Once you've solved for x, plug it back in for here, this 4x plus 7. Plug it back in here, work this out, and that'll tell you how many degrees this angle is. That's what they're looking for here. Number 11 and 12, we're finding the next number in the patterns. So how are we changing from -6 to -1 to 4 to 9? Numbers are getting bigger slowly. I'm going to guess we're adding something. Okay, and make sure you write the next number in the pattern. Again, what's the next number? We go from 100 to -50 to 25 to -12.5. When you go positive, positive, negative, you're probably multiplying or dividing by a negative number. Okay, that would be my hint for you on number 12. On to the next page. Okay, we're going to use law of detachment to make a statement. So basically, what I'm going to read first is just a fact, and then here's the example. So it says, if you decide to go to the football game, you're going to miss band practice. Okay, so it's like talking to a little kid. Hey, if you go to the football game, you're going to miss band practice. So what happens tonight? You go to the football game. So what conclusion do we make? You were told this is what's going to happen if you do this. You did it, so what's the result? In question number 14, we're going to use syllogism. So basically, we want to take out the part that repeats itself. So if Margot goes to college, then she'll major in chemistry. If Margot majors in chemistry, then she will need to buy a lab manual. So what can we conclude? Take out the parts that are doubled up and rewrite just using the parts that are left. 15 and 16, we're talking about properties, okay? So it says choose the property. Both of these, your choices are reflexive, symmetry, and transitive. They may be mixed up a little bit, but take a look. You got RST is congruent to XYZ, and then it just literally flips over. XYZ is congruent to RST. So which property talks about just flipping over? In 16, you got PQ equals PQ. It's like looking in a mirror and seeing the same thing. All right, so that's number 16. On to page 5. Again, more properties. Reflexive, symmetry, and transitive are your choices. So you got FG equals JK, JK equals LM, therefore FG equals LM. So we cut out the middle guy. Which property talks about that? Okay, number 18, we're going to use vertical angles to find the values of x and y. So remember, angles that are opposite of one another are equal because these lines intersect. So you're just going to set these up equal to each other. So I'll set up the first one for you for x. I would say, okay, 2x plus 4 equals 3x minus 21, and solve for x. You're going to do the same thing for the other one. Set 7y equal to 5y plus 36. They simply want the value of x and y. Okay, here on number 19, it's a proof. You've got all the statements here. You just need to figure out which of your choices, A, B, C, D, or E, or F, has the statements lined up in a right order. Okay, so make sure you check out your given information first. Okay, but your choices within these, I'm just going to read one of these. You got congruent segments, meaning segments are equal. Substitution, meaning they're taking something out and they're just plugging something different in. Of course, given. Segment addition postulate means you're adding two things together. And the transitive property, where you've got a middle guy that you're taking out. Okay, so do your best on number 19. Uh, 20 and 21, we're talking about classifying pairs of angles. They're either corresponding, alternate interior, alternate exterior, or consecutive interior. So I'm going to zoom in here. So angle 1 and angle 8. What are those? Which of those four is angle 1 and 8? And number 21. Which of these choices would be best for 2 and 6? One on the inside, one on the outside, both in the upper left. Same thing here for number 22. Our angles are 3 and 5. What kind of angles are those? And on this one, 4 and 5. What kind of angles are those? One on each side, both on the inside. Sticking with this same concept, same directions, corresponding, alternate interior, alternate exterior, or same side interior or consecutive interior. We're looking at angles 3 and 7. Which of those is that? And number 25, 3 and 6. On number 26, we want to find the value of x. These are alternate interior angles, which means they are equal to each other. Set this equal to this and solve for x. On number 27, we just want to find the value of x that makes these two parallel. So how many degrees would this guy be? What kind of angles do we have right here? That's 137. Notice that we're on the same side and on the inside. These two angles add up to what? It's like if I drove my car and did a U-turn. How many degrees is that? Figure out what x is. We want to also find the value of x in number 28. Okay. So what we want to do here is, I definitely want to help you out here. We're going to take x plus 17 plus 73 and set it equal to 180. Make sure you combine your like terms first before you move it away from x. Okay, we want to find slope. 29 and 30 are the same thing, so we'll just kind of blanket both of these. Remember, to find a slope, if they give you 2 points, slope is m, and it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And again, label your points. Don't miss the problem just because we plug things in wrong, okay? Whoops. So there's 29 and 30 for you. And make sure you reduce the fraction. Use the red calculators. If you're not sure you need some help, come see me. Okay, we want to write the equation of a line that goes through this point right here. Negative 2 and 4, they're an x and a y. You're given your m that you're going to use, so let me just make sure, yeah, we didn't miss something we needed there, but your m, this part, you can already fill that in, but now we're just going to plug things in for y equals mx plus b. So you've got numbers for these three items. Plug them in and solve for b. B goes right here. Number 32 is the exact same thing. Again, this is an x and a y. Plug them into y equals mx plus b. You've already got this. Okay, you need to plug all those in and solve for b. Question 33 is very similar. The only difference is they're perpendicular. Okay, this line here and the new line you're going to write. The slope on this guy is a negative 1 or negative 1 over 1. Remember, perpendicular lines, their slopes are opposite and reciprocal. Okay, so flip this guy and change the sign. That'll be your m that goes there. And then I want you to plug in your x and y, 0 and the 2 for x and y, and your new slope, your m, times x plus b, and figure out what b is and put that there in the box. Number 34, we want to classify this triangle by its sides and angles. Okay, so the first three in your choices, those are by your sides. So remember, scalene, isosceles, equilateral. This has 3 tick marks, which means each side is what to each other. Okay, which also might mean something. Now your choices for angles are acute, right, obtuse, and equiangular. All right, that's 34. $35, same thing. Big giveaway right here, though, would be this. Okay. So there's that 90-degree angle. Which of these would it be? Okay. Make sure you do it by the sides and by angles. You should have 2 answers for these last couple. Also this one. Okay. 2 answers. Got a couple tick marks here. All right. Pay attention to the angles. 37, we want to find the value of x. Again, interior angles of a triangle always add up to 180. So this plus this, and they all equal 180. Make your equation and solve for x. Remember, this is a 90-degree angle right here. On to the next page. We're solving for x again. One thing I want to remind you is that you have vertical angles here, so if this guy's 50, what's he going to be? Okay, now you've got this angle and this angle. Subtract them from 180, and you're going to be left with your x. Okay, we want to find the values of x and y here. All right. And they tell us that DEFG, this is congruent to this shape over here. So now identify corresponding parts. Notice that the 15x plus y is going to be equal to this 90 degrees. Okay, but first we need to know x, so let's start with x. We're just going to say, okay, I want to solve. So 3x minus 5. He corresponds with who on the other shape? You should be saying 10, so they're equal to each other. So solve for x. All right, and then plug him in here. Take 15 times whatever that is, and then take this plus y and set it equal to 90 degrees, and solve for y. Another true and false. A couple of these are. We want to know if these two triangles are equal because of side angle side. Remember, one thing I want to caution you is when you have two lines that intersect, like we do here, you have vertical angles. Okay, and then remember, I always go, okay, I got a side here, and a side, and a side, and a side, and an angle, and an angle. So does that equal up? Okay, that's how I do those. I label the pictures. And then this next one, they just want to know if they're congruent because of angle side angle. So ASA. So kind of fill everything in. Are these two equal because of angle side angle? True or false? Another true and false. This time we're looking, are they equal because it's saying they're equal or they're congruent. These are equal because of side, side, side. Don't forget about the guy down the middle here. Okay, 43. We want to know, is this this translation, is it or is transformation, is it a translation where it slides? Is it a reflection where it's just literally flipped over? Or is it rotated or none? Okay, so take a good look at our shape here. What happened to it? Same thing in number 44. Take a look at what happened here. Looks like we just kind of spun around, right? And lastly, same type of question. We're going from here to here. How do we get this shape on top of it? Okay, if you have any questions, please ask. Good job on the test. Have a great rest of the day.